You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. My name is Arya Whitner, and this is your NXT audio update for Wednesday, October 26th, 2016. Thank you all for listening. Let's get into NXT here this week. It was bookended once again by the Dusty Rhodes Classic, with the first round coming to an end. The first match of the night was a first round match. It was DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano versus Ho Ho Lun, who you might remember from the Cruiserweight Classic, and Tian Bing, who is the first Chinese person ever signed to WWE. And let's see here. Bing and Lun worked well together. Gargano sold their offense pretty well. Ciampa tagged in and took over before Gargano pinned Lun with their combo super kick knee strike. Not a whole lot to the match, but it accomplished what it needed to accomplish. And now Gargano and Ciampa face their heated rivals, the NXT Tag Team Champions, The Revival, in the second round. Backstage, Kota Ibushi said that he's teaming with TJ Perkins out of respect, and Perkins said that he jumped at the opportunity to team with Kota after Hideo Itami was injured. Samoa Joe was interviewed regarding whether or not he was going to attack Shinsuke Nakamura last week. Joe claimed that he was never going to. He went out last week to test Nakamura, and he stated that Nakamura is no longer a confident man. He is a man who looks over his shoulder every time he goes out and will go down in defeat at NXT TakeOver to Samoa Joe. Billie Kay with Peyton Royce in her corner versus Aaliyah. Billie attacked the bell and was in control for the entire bout, never even leaving her feet at any point until the finish of the match. Liv Morgan, who you might recall last week, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce ran out and attacked Liv Morgan last week. So this week, Liv Morgan ran out, and Peyton Royce decided to take solace inside the ring. However, this led to a tug of war between Billie Kay and Liv Morgan, both pulling Peyton Royce in each direction. I can't imagine if this was real, that would feel good at all. And while that was going on, Aaliyah rolled up Billie Kay from behind with her first real offensive maneuver of the match and picked up the win. After the match, we got a 2-on-1 beatdown of Liv until Aaliyah decided that, hey, this is her chance to get an angle. So she ran in to try to make the save. However, she got beat down as well. And the segment ended with the two Australian heels standing tall. Ty Dillinger was up next, the Perfect 10 versus Noah Paches. Noah has been seen at NXT before, usually going without a last name. His gimmick, according to the announcers anyway, is that he's creepy. They never said why he's creepy or how he's creepy. He did nothing that made me think he was creepy. The announcers are too busy arguing over whether or not Tom Phillips was as creepy as Byron Saxton, and then it was never brought up again for the rest of the match. I'm still not entirely convinced that the fans like Dillinger, that they more just like chanting the word 10. Anyway, Dillinger won another quick match with the tiebreaker. After the match, Dillinger was on the ramp cutting a promo on Bobby Roode, saying the only glorious thing Bobby Roode has ever done is run. To prove this correct, Roode ran in and beat the crap out of Dillinger, finishing up by dropping Ty with the implant DDT on the ramp. TM61 was asked about their next round match with Austin Aries and Roderick Strong. They said that Aries and Strong were a great team, quote unquote, back then, but they're a great team and a cohesive team right now. They think with one mind, fight with one fist, and are the team to beat in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Former TNA Knockout Tag Team Champion Thea Trinidad was out next to go one-on-one with the dominant, undefeated NXT Women's Champion Asuka. Thea, by the way, is the former Rosita in TNA. I want to point out that she's one of the few people associated at some point with TNA who is not currently suing them. The fans, when she was introduced, actually started a light Rosita chant, but it stopped really quickly when Asuka's music hit. At this point, and we've mentioned this before, in probably the last 2 or 3 months, every time she's had a squash match, Asuka's pretty much just playing with her opponents at this point and has stopped taking most of them seriously. She's been on the roster for a full year, and no one has come close to beating her. And Trinidad, despite her best efforts, did not come close either. Asuka somehow turned an ankle lock into a German suplex, and that into a Fujiwara armbar. And while I was trying to figure out how the hell she did that, Thea tapped out. And then while I was still trying to figure out how she did that, and Asuka was trying to celebrate, we were joined by Mr. William Regal, who announced that NXT TakeOver Toronto, she will defend her championship against former WWE Women's Champion Mickie James. Mickie cut a promo on the video wall saying that until Asuka beats her, she hasn't beaten anybody. The fans popped as Mickie said that it would be an international incident. Paul Ellering was backstage giving the Authors of Pain a pep talk before he was interrupted so he could cut a promo. Paul said that when he came to NXT, he had a vision, and that vision is complete. He has a plan and a strategy, and the Authors of Pain will take out Rich Swann and No Way Jose next week. And speaking of which, second round gets started next week. Authors of Pain versus Rich Swann and No Way Jose, along with Sanity, facing the winners of our next match, the main event, the final first round match in the Dusty Rhodes Classic, Lince Dorado and Mustafa Ali versus the current WWE Cruiserweight Champion TJ Perkins and Kota Ibushi. Perkins isn't wearing the title belt to the ring for some reason. I'm not sure if the fans knew that he was the person who was replacing Hideo Itami, but they reacted quite positively to his appearance. The heels got the heat on Perkins, and they worked a really good tag team match, incorporating all of their spots into it, as opposed to just a normal collection of spots with no rhyme or reason. Ibushi got the hot tag and almost literally kicked the hell out of both men. Dorado replied by slapping Ibushi, so Kota responded by hitting a double Pele kick to both heels at the same time. Ibushi and Perkins hit a combo moonsault frog splash for a near fall. Perkins used the wrecking ball drop kick, but Dorado blocked the attempt at a knee bar. Mustafa Ali tagged in, but quickly got caught in a knee bar for the tap out. So that does it for the first round, but now Perkins and Ibushi must face Sanity next week in the second round. What will happen? Can Perkins and Ibushi continue in their quest to the tournament championship? Only one way to find out. And with that, I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll talk to you again in 7 days.
And remember, if you like Arya Whitner's NXT report, you can follow Arya on Twitter at TheReallyRealAW. Arya Whitner's NXT reports occur every Wednesday night on AngryMarks.com and are syndicated to YouTube at the same time, as well as iTunes, keyword AngryMarks. Thank you for checking out Arya Whitner's NXT report right here, courtesy of the Angry Marks Podcast Network and AngryMarks.com.
You're listening to the Angry Marks Podcast Network.